Metallica, greatest band name ever? Yes. And Justice for All, greatest album name ever? Also yes. So today we're going to learn the intro off the title track because it is an excellent lesson in moving arpeggios around, making arpeggios from a scale, also in a 3/4 time signature, which they're a master at, and it sounds something like this. So basically, we're just kind of doing this descending arpeggiated thing going on. Now, what an arpeggio is, if you don't know, this is breaking a chord into one note at a time. And we're going to start with this E note. So the E is the 7th fret on the A string, right? Now, again, Metallica is just a master of arpeggios and accenting them in interesting time signatures and always changing the time signature too. So first off, this is in 3/4. So basically, the feel of it is like 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? And what this is we're starting with an E note. This is going to be an E major arpeggio. Now, where they get this from is if you start with your middle finger on the 7th fret of the A string and you play the major scale, the first, 3rd, and 5th notes of that give you an E major chord. So what they start out by doing, the very first beat, is they get the open E string, the octave E, which is 7A, and the major 3rd all together. And it kind of gives you this cool open voicing right here. Now, we don't have the 5th in it yet. You need a 5th to make a major chord, right? So there's 1 and there's the 5. We're going to get there, and the way they're doing it is we're thinking in 3/4. So if we have 1 and 2 and 3 and we have 6 spots to use these notes, right? So 1 and 2 and 3, right? So we're kind of going straight right here. We've got 1 and 2. And again, these are just from the major scale. 1, 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3. Those are the beats, but the numbers through the scale are 1, 4, 5, 1, 4. And then we're going to do a triplet on the last half beat, the and of 3. 1 and 2 and 3, triplet. Okay, and that triplet is just a 6 to 7 D string, hammer on pull off, triplet. Now we're gonna move this a step down to a D note, okay? And we're gonna make the same arpeggio kind of feel in a slightly different accented way. We're gonna take the first and the major 3rd together and get that on the first beat, right? So we've got the dyad, a 2-note kind of 1 and 2 and 3 and. So basically, it's just a major arpeggio again, just kind of split up over this bar of 3. 1 and 2 and 3. There's the 5th of the scale on the 3, and then the and of 3 is back to that dyad. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now we're going to go another step down and do another. We're going to do the exact same pattern that we did on the E, right? So we have an E major, a D major, and now we're going to a C major. And again, do the same thing you did on the E with the triplet at the end now. Now, already, if you know how kind of like you build chords from a key, there's only 3 major chords in any key if you stay within the key, and they're on the 1, the 4, and the 5. So this is an example of going outside of a key and almost not even thinking of a key in general. You're thinking of notes descending, and you're putting an arpeggio on each of those notes. So it kind of moves. These arpeggios are moving together. When really, it's just a E major arpeggio, D, C. Which there's no key that has a C major, D major, and an E major all in it. These are just a way to kind of move shapes around. And now we're going to get to this part, which is going to mirror what we did with the D major, but now we have a different interval going on right here with the 2A, which is a B, and its minor 3rd, which is a D, right? When I say minor 3rd from the minor scale. Again, these guys are masters of scales. You can hear it in every single song they've ever done, right? So we have a minor kind of chord and pulsed or accented in the exact same way that the D chord was, the major one. But now we're doing it instead of with a major third, we're doing it with a minor third. And then we're gonna walk that down a half step to the first fret. And now we're gonna go back to a major third, right? But since we're on the first fret, a major third looks different. We don't have to go back like we did higher up. We can just leave the D string open. That's a major third, right? Now that one right there, this is where it gets kind of wicked. This is a flat and 5, a diminished chord. But really, since we end up going to this note anyways, it's not so much a flat 5 as it is a sharp 4. As far as the intervals between notes go, there's no distinction right there. That can be anything, but we're eventually going to resolve this, I guess if you want to call it resolution, with a B flat power chord right here. But basically the way you play the this B flat's part is the dyad with the major third. So we've got the dyad, 2, 2, dyad, 2 down a string, and then finally that power chord at the end, right? Now the reason I'm thinking of this as a sharp 4, not a flat 5, again, there's really not a difference when it comes to this because it's kind of leaving a scale or a key anyways. We end up grabbing the 5 anyways. So this actually has a really a Lydian sound to it. Lydian being the mode in the major scale that has a sharp 4 and a 5, which is kind of what's happening here. In fact, this kind of sounds like I think it's like a Zelda song, right? Like. So I'm sure Metallica was drawing inspiration from Zelda. NES, or maybe it was the other way around. Anyways, this is kind of like a way that you can use the Lydian mode, right? So again, there's really not, the structure here is something that is all moving together as compared to something that works itself through one key. And again, a great band that's known for changing time signatures, changing key signatures also, and just kind of being on the same page together. So again, we're gonna do it one more time. We're gonna start with that E major kind of scale arpeggio. Triplet, down a step into a D major arpeggio. And again, it's really just a D major arpeggio with the 4th thrown in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing on the C that we did on the E. Then to the B, same thing we did on the D, but now minor. Into the B flat. With the sharp 4, the flat 5, the diminished quality, however you want to look at it. And then finally ending up on that B flat, okay? So again, this is just one way that you can kind of experiment with different scales. And that's why it's really great to I think it's great to practice with 1 octave of a scale, because all this riff is, the parts of this riff, are just in 1 octave. And then just kind of like start combining these intervals, like learn to hear what the sound of a root and a major third is, a root and a 4th, a root and a 5th, a root and like a flat 7, a major 7, a 6, right? All those kind of things are going to help you in your songwriting because you never have to stay inside of a key. A lot of times you can get really cool combinations in progressions by thinking of one scale, in this case the major scale, and then moving it all around the neck and then just kind of experimenting. So anyways, I hope that was helpful, and if you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, in the comments of the website, and I will catch you next time. Thanks.